Jaden Ivey made his season debut as the Detroit Pistons inch closer to being completely full strength after defeating the Milwaukee Bucks.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. Per usual, I am your host, Khahil. You can find me over on Twitter at Khahil. I've been covering the Detroit Pistons for the last 4 years for the Locked On Network, been a credential media member over the last 3 years, and I appreciate all of you guys who make Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started today. And also, again, I want to thank you guys for all the support, not just to Locked On Pistons, but to the entire Locked On Podcast Network, as you guys have officially made us the #1 sports podcast network in America. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Later on, I want to talk about, is a 12-man rotation realistic for the Detroit Pistons to enroll out game to game? We'll talk about that a little later. And also, are the Detroit Pistons legit contenders? Not make-believe contenders. Should we start discussing the Pistons as legit contenders? We'll talk about it coming up. But the Pistons, we're going to start with their win over the Milwaukee Bucks. They won this game 129-116. They were nearly up by 30 points at one point. They completely dominated this game, I felt like, from opening tip-off. Ryan Rollins was, we're going to get into some other things, but Ryan Rollins, that first half was maybe the spookiest half of basketball he's ever had to play in his life. But the biggest news, obviously, coming from this game is that Jaden Ivey made his season debut and played his first minutes of NBA basketball since January 1st, which is kind of, it's definitely something that his last game played was due to a Cole Anthony play that injured him, and then his first game back is against Cole Anthony. That was, what do you say, a little weird coincidence. But I thought, we'll talk about everything else, but I want to start with Ivey, obviously. I thought Ivey looked pretty good in 15 minutes of play. He only played 15 minutes, which is something we'll talk about later on. But in just 15 minutes of play, I thought he fit in pretty well. I'm not going to read too much into how they're utilizing him in his first game back from not playing in like 10 months. But I thought the way they did utilize him in this game was really smart. He was running a lot of off-ball, or he was playing a lot of off-ball. He was attacking. He had a few catch-and-shoot attempts. He attacked in transition. I believe Tobias got a defensive rebound. He just took off right down the middle. Tobias outletted it to him, and he just took it all the way to the rim and was able to finish in transition. I thought the way in which they utilized him was really smart. He kind of just fit into exactly everything they were doing. They didn't change everything when he was on the floor. They didn't run a completely different type of offense. He was playing off of everybody else. He was playing off of the actions the Pistons have been running, which is a lot of Jalen Duren DHO, a lot of pick and roll with Cade, a lot of DHO with Cade, a lot of movement threes for Duncan Robinson. They even try to run an off-ball action to get Jaden Ivey a movement three on the right wing, which he ended up getting up. He didn't take the initial catch and shoot. He tried to go to a sidestep, which he's feeling himself in. But overall, I thought the way JB Bickerstaff reintegrated him into his first game, I thought was really good. I thought he did a really good job. He had a nice pull-up mid-range shot along the left baseline, which was really nice to see. He had a few nice finishes at the rim. Got to the basket a few times, drew a foul. It's going to be a work in progress with figuring out what exactly they want Ivey to do, what it is they exactly plan for him to do, and how he's going to play. I mean, I don't know how long he's going to be on this minutes restriction. Right now, he's probable for tomorrow, and they have him down for reconditioning. So I suspect that he's going to be on this limited minutes for quite a bit. It's been 10 months since he's been able to play NBA basketball. It's going to be a minute. But in his first action back, I thought he looked just as explosive. There wasn't any concern. I mean, we saw a little bit of him in the preseason too, but I didn't feel like we saw any lack of explosiveness. I don't think all of a sudden the injury took away any of that. He still looked just as explosive, just as fast. And I'm going to be interested to see how they utilize him moving forward. I thought it was a good debut for him. I'm interested to see if he gets closer to 20 minutes in this next game, how long it takes him to break that 20-minute threshold. But he was basically just utilized as a scorer. Come into the game, score the basketball. Come into the game, run in transition, score the basketball, get shots up. I thought he did a fine job at that. He didn't have as much rust as I thought when it came to scoring the ball. He had a few nice looks. And again, it's not going to be perfect for him the first few weeks back. Everyone needs to be easy on him. It's been 10 months. But I thought this was a good first game back. Outside of Ivey, though, which obviously he's the biggest story, but outside of Ivey, I thought everyone contributed to this win that played in this game. Again, they completely dominated the Milwaukee Bucks. Ausar had, like I mentioned earlier, Ryan Rollins in absolute hell. He only had 6 attempts in this game, shot attempts, Ausar that is. But it felt like all of his energy was just channeled to just playing point of attack defense. He didn't really do anything offensively. He was kind of just in the corner the whole time, didn't really run any actions or anything. Like, he was pressing Rollins full court the entire game, the entire time he was in the game. And he just didn't really do anything offensively. I hope that changed a little bit moving forward, but it seemed like he just wanted to channel his Gary Payton, pull that kind of defense off and play that way. He's a little bit on a minutes restriction as well, JP said before the game, so he only played 27 minutes. Tobias Harris made his return as well. He didn't look like he had any rust to knock off. He had 18 points and 7 of 9 shooting. He also was on a minute restriction at 23 minutes, but he played extremely well in those minutes. Jalen Duren dominated, had 19 points and just 10 shots. JD, something to watch for with him. He is slipping just a little bit from free throw. I'm going to be interested to see if he gets back to shooting that 80%. But the last few games, he's been hovering around under 70%. He's been missing a lot more free throws the last few games. So 5 of 8 isn't too bad. And I'm not saying to freak out or anything. I'm just saying to watch. Maybe it's possible we might be seeing a little bit of a regression to the mean when it comes to the free throw line conversion rate. But we'll see. Just stay on top of it. But outside of that, he was fantastic as usual. And Cade I saw that he ended up in the top 5 now MVP ladder on NBA.com. He's going to keep flying up those, man. 29 points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds on just 10 of 18 shooting. Made all of his free throws. He's playing exceptional, man. On defense, on offense, he's just been great. He's been absolutely sensational since the first 4 games of the year. He is playing like an MVP, and the longer the Pistons continue to win, their win streak, by the way, I should have mentioned this by now, is at 12 straight games. The longer the Pistons continue to win, the longer he'll continue to be in these MVP conversations. I think he's trying to lock up first team All-NBA. The first team or first seed in the Eastern Conference, with how well he's playing, I don't see how that's not an automatic lock for first team All-NBA. Now, obviously, the Pistons have to stay there, but with how he's playing like a top five guy in the league. He's been absolutely exceptional. But like I said, everyone contributed to this win. Isaiah Stewart had some great minutes off the bench in 23 minutes. Caris LeVert made his return in 13 minutes. I thought he looked fine. We obviously talk about Jaden Ivey, but Dan Jenkins, he played 13 minutes, had 7 points and 3 assists. I thought he played really well. Ron Holland, he had a few really good reps against Ryan Rollins as well. He had 2 steals in this game. I thought his defense was really good. Offensively, something to watch for with Ron. He's been struggling. It doesn't seem like the team has like a crafted out role for him. It seems like he's just kind of spotting up in the corner. And I think a lot of that has to do is that the Pistons are figuring out how they want their hierarchy of ball handlers. Like, it's obviously Cade, but it seems like that they are realizing, okay, we want Duren to soak up a lot of the usage as well. And then obviously Ivey's coming back. You got Caris LeVert, you got Ausar. So I'm interested to see how he looks offensively and how they utilize him, because right now he's mostly just kind of wandering out there, and I think that's hurting him a little bit. Seems like to me, from me watching it, he doesn't really know where he wants to be offensively, but overall defensively he was good. And then Javonte Green also, he contributed. Got 7 points and 3 of 3 shooting. He played really well. The Pistons went with the 12-man rotation in this game. Everybody contributed. It was a really good win. Got the Bucks. Win 12 in a row. They're at the top of the Eastern Conference. They are now 14-2. They are playing exceptional. But the question is, can they continue to run a 12-man rotation on a game-to-game basis, or will JB Bickerstaff have to make a decision soon? We'll talk about it coming up. Let's be real, no one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month. So try Gusto today at gusto.com/lockedonnba and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/lockedonnba. One more time, that's gusto.com/lockedonnba to get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. Then I got to tell you guys about another one of our sponsors, Wayfair. The holiday season is right around the corner, and that means it's time to get your home ready. Whether you need more seating for guests or a fun serveware for holiday hosting, Wayfair's Black Friday sale is here to help you make your space shine. Now go ahead and let you guys know, I just got done using Wayfair. We got a new dresser. You don't see it in the camera, but I got a new dresser over here in the corner. Kind of help organize things, organize my clothes a little bit more. Came in just 2 days. Easy to set up. It was great delivery. It was fantastic. I loved using Wayfair. Good pricing, all of that good stuff. This kind of thing you can do over there. And I did take advantage of their Black Friday deals that are happening all month long, up to 70% off everything from sofas, dispatches, and like I said, to dressers. So don't miss out on early Black Friday deals. Head to wayfair.com now to sign up and shop with Wayfair's Black Friday sale up to 70% off. That's WAYFAIR.com. Sale ends December 7th with Wayfair. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free to available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. The Pistons have won 12 straight games. They are the top of the Eastern Conference. This is something I wanted to mention in the first segment, so I'm going to take a quick second to mention it here. The Detroit Pistons' main question coming into the year, and we've talked about this a few times in the pod already, but it just continues to get even better and better. One of the main questions was, can the Detroit Pistons have a good half-court offense? Last year, they were a great defensive team. They led the league in fast break points, second chance points, points in the paint, all that stuff. And this year, they have been pummeling teams, points in the paint. They've been getting out in transition. They've been getting second chance points. They've been getting out in fast breaks. All that stuff that we know that they were going to be great at, and obviously defense. They've been one of the best defenses in the entire NBA. We know all of that. But the question is, could they have a really good half-court offense this year? And that was some of the question in the offseason, which is why you heard rumors about the Pistons being interested in potential stretch bigs. They thought, do we need more shooting? Do we need to space the floor more? That was something they needed to address. And since the first 4 games of the year, over the last 12 games, the Detroit Pistons have the 3rd best half-court offense in basketball. Not 3rd best overall offense, not 3rd best transition team, not 3rd best fast break team. They have the 3rd best half-court offense in endpoint, period. They've been dominating teams within the half-court. And there's so many reasons for why this is. Their second chance points, their offensive rebounding is just killing teams, even when they miss a layup at the rim. We've talked about this a few times. Just being aggressive on drives. They have so many good offensive rebounds that they just destroy teams with it. But the other thing, obviously, is that Jalen Duren is scoring on an absurd rate on drives. So far this year, he's scoring around 1.25 points per possession on drives. This is better than just actually. Let me go ahead and give you guys, and trust me, we'll get to the 12-man rotation, but this is something I really wanted to talk about. So we'll table the 12-man rotation talk for just a second. But I want to compare these numbers from Jalen Duren, what he's doing on drives. Actually, I was wrong what he was scoring on drives. He's doing better, scoring 1.36 points per possession. Just absurd. For those of you guys who be wondering, okay, is that good? How good is that? Well, you're scoring more than a point every single time the person drives. First of all, that's insane in and of itself. But then you go ahead and compare it to some other guys. I went and looked at just some random bigs. Julius Randle, really good driver. He's scoring 1.21 points per possession. Giannis, he's scoring 1.08 points per possession. Jokic, 1.14 points per possession. Sengun is at 0.76, not that great. But you see, Duren is scoring at a more efficient rate on his drives than any of those guys I just mentioned, and those guys are all considered to be like elite drivers at the big man position. Part of me wants to say it's unsustainable. Like, he is, like, the rate that he's at is crazy. It'd be hard to imagine that he's going to continue to be this efficient on drives. Like, this is absurd. This is like LeBron kind of stuff. Like, the efficiency is otherworldly. But that's one of the biggest reasons why the Pistons have been so good within the half court, because he's just taken another step, just a leap actually, as a driver, and as a self-creator for himself, a scorer off the dribble. He's been fantastic, and that's pummeling teams. For teams that want to double Cade, he's making them pay on mismatches. He's making them pay when they play 4-on-3. If he's making the tagging defender constantly pay because he realizes I'm just stronger than you, so he takes his time and he dunks on you or pivots and gives a drop step and finishes at the rim. He's been absurd as a scorer offensively. So I think he is the main reason, or I would definitely say if he's not the main reason, he's like a top 2-3 reason for why the Pistons half-court offense has been so good lately. And then obviously I think one of the other reasons, very clearly, is how good Cade Cunningham's playing. 30 points a game on 11 assists a game as well. He's shooting, 47% from the field, but 57 true shooting percentage. There's a bunch of talk about, is he going to be efficient this year? Now he's at league average efficiency over the last 12 games. First 4 games were really bad, but he's been a league average efficiency from an efficiency perspective, while being a high volume scorer and a high volume assist guy. He's been fantastic. He's also averaging 2 steals a game. But that's overall, which is how good Cade's playing. But Cade's been really good within the half court. He's been a better finisher. Even this last game against Milwaukee, he started to hit some of his threes. Hopefully that's coming around, because that really was the only thing limiting him. And we've talked about in the last podcast, his turnovers are down across the board. Just completely down across the board. So the Pistons are answering the question about whether they could be a good half-court offense. Jalen Duren's contributing to it. Cade Cunningham's contributing to it. I think Ausar Thompson's aggression has been contributing to it. Like I mentioned, even if he doesn't score on the drives, he's been drawing free throws, which lately, last 2 games, I know he's been coming back from injury. He hasn't really been as aggressive, but I'm chalking that up to the fact that JB said he's on a minutes restriction. They're trying to handle it, and we had 10 games of him taking 10-plus field goal attempts a game. I'm going to assume that will go back once he's back playing his normal minutes. But either way, Ausar driving, even when he misses because they're so good of an offensive rebounding team, doesn't really matter. He was aggressive drawing free throws, obviously. Duncan Robinson has been on an absolute heater for the Pistons. Like, everyone was dogging Duncan Robinson to start the year, and he's been fantastic. He's shooting 44% on the year. If you just go since the Cleveland game, he is on such an insane heater, shooting 47% from 3 on 7.6 attempts. He's been absurd as a shooter for the Pistons, and people were worried about whether they would have enough shooting to make up for what they lost with Malik Beasley, and Duncan Robinson has completely shown up and done his job. And then you got the steady presence of Tobias Harris, so that's able to post up mismatches and space the floor out and give the Pistons a little bit of on-ball juice as a scorer whenever they need whenever someone's off or he has a favorable matchup, he's able to attack that. So Pistons are not only a top 10 defense, they are a top 10 offense. And on the year, even if you go including the top 4 games, or the first 4 games, the Pistons have a top 10 half-court defense and a top 10 half-court offense. There's only 5 teams that can say that. Atlanta, who the Pistons beat, Detroit, Miami, Minnesota, and obviously the Oklahoma City Thunder. Those are the 5 teams. They're in elite company. They're in absolutely elite company towards the top of the league. It's been a crazy start for the Detroit Pistons. And actually, I'll save this point I was going to bring up for later. Now, I guess we'll hit on this because we don't really need to take too much time with this, the 12-man rotation stuff. After the game, JB Bickerstaff said, for now, he is going to go with the 12-man rotation because he wants to reward people. And they asked him, well, have you ever done that before? He's like, nope, I've never done it before in my life. The reason why he's never done it is because nobody does it. No one runs 12-man rotations. It's nearly impossible to do. Now, some people will ask me, well, cool, didn't they just do it? What do you mean? What's wrong with being deep? What's wrong with keeping your guys fresh? You should absolutely want to play everybody. This is the problem, guys. And I know everyone, I understand this with fans, that they start to love certain players and they want to see the players get rewarded and like the power of friendship. I get all of it. 12-man rotations are virtually impossible to do game to game. There's a reason why no one does it. Yes, teams aren't as deep, but even OKC struggles unless they are winning, unless OKC is sitting their starters for the fourth quarter, which they've been doing a lot of, so fair enough. But unless that's happening, it's hard to get 12 guys consistent minutes game to game. The reason why the Pistons are able to do it right now is because Ausar is on a minutes restriction, Tobias is on a minutes restriction, Jaden Ivey is on a minutes restriction. I'm assuming Caris LeVert also is on one because he's been in and out of the lineup with injuries. So those are 4 guys. Did I say Tobias? Tobias is on a minutes restriction. I don't know if I said Tobias, but those are 4 to 5 guys who are all on minutes restrictions that once they are off their minutes restriction, that's going to be, 25 minutes having to be soaked up by them? The reason why the Pistons have all these minutes available to just spread out to everybody is because you have Jaden Ivey playing 15 minutes and Tobias playing 22 and Ausar playing 27 and Caris playing 13. Like, that's why they're able to play. It's not that Cade's not playing so much. He's still playing 32 minutes. It's not that Jalen Duren's not playing. It's because their other guys are on minutes restrictions, so there's a lot of minutes left for everybody. So once Ivy gets to 100%, Ausar gets to 100%, and Tobias gets to 100%, there's not going to be that many minutes to hand out. That's one. That's not going to continue. I respect JB trying to reward everybody, and I understand it. And for the time being, you probably can get away with it. And I'm sure part of the process as well is let's see who plays themselves into staying after the 12-man rotation and who plays themselves out. I'm sure that's part of it as well. But it's not, it's at some point soon, I'd say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, because you're going to want Ivy to get up to speed. I'd say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even sooner, JB's going to have to make a decision about how he wants his rotation, because you just can't run 12-man rotations. It doesn't happen, and it's too hard to do. And you hear players talk about this all the time. It's hard for any player, especially some of your more important players, to get into a rhythm if they're not playing as many minutes or they're playing such short stretches and constantly having to come out because you're playing so many guys. It's good to have depth. It's good to be deep. But, let's save that, I think, in a few weeks. Once they get Ivy up to speed and Ausar's full strength and Tobias is full strength. Once that happens, let's save all that deep talk for if maybe, knock on wood, an injury happens and you need someone to come in. That's what that's great for. Doesn't mean you should be playing 13 guys and spreading 15 minutes across everybody. Not only one, is it nearly impossible to do so, two, it is going to be impossible to do once all your main guys are no longer on restriction. So, but nonetheless, I'm going to be interested to see who tries to play themselves into it, because someone's going to have to lose their spot soon. I'm interested to see. And obviously, they didn't have to play Paul Reed 4 minutes. It didn't have to happen. They just found minutes for him to play. But either way, let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil, how you guys are feeling about the rotation. Also, all the other stuff I said earlier about how the Pistons half-court offense is looking, and how they're the only one of 5 teams to be top 10 in half-court defense and half-court offense. Coming up, are the Detroit Pistons real contenders? Should we be discussing them as legit championship contenders? We'll talk about it coming up. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets and everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. So right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So I want to thank you guys again for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. If you haven't already, head to the YouTube channel at Locked On Pistons. Hit that subscribe button or leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. That's another great way to support the podcast. The Pistons are sitting at 14-2. They're first in the East. But it seems like there's a lot of hesitancy from not just people. I won't even just troll people outside Detroit. It's not just people outside Detroit. There's also a lot of people within Detroit that has a little bit of a hesitancy to saying they're actually contenders. Not just a very good team, not just a good story, Not just again, like I said, not just a very good team that can finish top 4 in the East. There's a lot of hesitancy to say this team is proving to be legit finals contenders. So I want to ask the question, and I'll answer it myself for what my answer is. I want to hear from you guys what you guys think in the comments. The Pistons have, I think, a lot more to prove before anyone's going to feel comfortable calling them contenders. And I don't think that's wrong to say. I feel like not just with the Pistons, but with any team, you have to prove a lot before people just start throwing the contender label at you. And especially this early in the season. This early in the season is too... Oftentimes, stuff is too noisy, and there's not a lot of sample. Now, again, I think the Pistons have been incredible. I think they are going to be incredible, so I'm not saying they can't be contenders. No, I'm not saying that at all. My point here is that it's going to be hard for people to give them that contender status until they continue to stack up this sample of being a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. They have the numbers back up saying that they're a contender. They have the profile of a contender. They have a top defense. They have a top offense. They have a top half-court defense. They have a top half-court offense. They have an identity. They have an MVP franchise-type player. They have a very good coach. They have depth. They have a supporting cast around that franchise player that are all improving. Like, there's a lot of arguments and a lot of numbers that back up this is a profile of a contending team. However, I am not taking even 1% away from anything the Pistons have done. Not even a little bit. However, I think we would be trolling people if we were to not at least somewhat acknowledge the Pistons have had a good schedule. Like, I'll say this is really what I wanted to say. I was going to say this earlier. The Pistons beating the Bucks without Giannis isn't helping us beat the can't get an easiest schedule of all time allegations. It's not. We gotta be honest. That's not helping our allegations here. So like they're taking care of business, but I just thought it was funny because they're not helping. Giannis not playing isn't helping the allegations here. It's going to continue to happen. But as I've said over and over, you can only play who's in front of you. And the good to really great teams all take care of business against the teams they should take care of business. And then they split or play slightly above average, I believe, against teams on their caliber. And that's how you end up with around 50 wins. It's not because you're beating everyone that's on every time you play against someone on your level, you're just going 100% against them. That's not realistic. You're going to lose games to teams that are on your level. You just want to split those ones, really, and just take care of business against the teams you should be winning. And that's exactly what the Pistons are doing. And they also do have a few quality wins. I've brought this up before. Like, people said the Magic were going to be great. The Pistons beat them. They beat Houston early in the year. Now, for what it's worth, it was the second game of the year, and maybe Houston hadn't figured it out by then. Fair enough, but that is still a really good win, beating the Houston Rockets. They beat the Atlanta Hawks, who everyone said was going to be a litmus test for the Pistons, and they did defeat them. That's a really good team. No top defense since Trae Young's went down, and the Pistons beat them. Also, to have that type of focus to be on a win streak like this, not every team has, to be able to focus every single night and bring your all every single night, to be locked in and not take a night off. Not many teams are able to do that, and the Pistons are doing all of that. So, have the Pistons have had a favorable schedule? 100%. I think anyone lying to themselves or trolling people by saying they're wrong by saying that, you're just trolling. They have had a favorable schedule, but they've done exactly what you want them to do with the favorable schedule. Not everyone with this schedule would do this. The Pistons are. They're locked in. They're playing extremely well. They have a great defense. They have a great offense. I will end this with saying I don't want to talk about contenders talk yet, because I do believe you need to have some good wins under your belt before people start talking about you as contenders. And I think, again, like I said earlier, I do think that is fair. I don't think that's just specific to the Pistons where people are just being Piston haters. I think that's really across all sports, not just the NBA, but NFL. With any team, before people just start calling you a contender, you need to have some really good wins under your belt, or at least some very good performances against like some of the top teams in the league. Unfortunately for the Pistons, I think they'll be dealing with this kind of I don't know, these allegations thrown against them for a minute, because they're not going to be going against, I don't think, any like crazy great teams until maybe December 30th against the Lakers. These are the Pistons' next few games. They got the Pacers, the Celtics, the Magic, which it depends how people are feeling about the Magic. One day they're great, the next day, oh, they're bad. Next day they're great, next day they're bad. So who knows how they're feeling with the Magic. Maybe they're just overrated, but we're not going to get into that. But Pacers, Celtics, Magic, Heat, the Hawks. I think the Hawks are good wins, but apparently when the Pistons beat them, they're not. But anyways, Hawks, Bucks, then Trailblazers, Bucks again, Dallas, Charlotte, Portland again, Sacramento, Utah, Clippers. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to people and say the Pistons out here playing top-tier teams here, okay? I get it. I think the stretch of the season where the Pistons can really start to get people to be sold on them and start talking about them like this, where people are just, like, completely confident in it, it's the stretch to end the year and to start the 2026 year. They got Lakers, Heat, Cleveland, New York in a 4-game stretch on December 30th, the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th. That stretch right there, I think if they can go 2-2, heck, even 3-1. If they were to go 3-1, that would be incredible. Those are some really good teams. Teams everyone respects. I think that's the stretch we should be eyeing, not to overlook the rest of these teams, but if you want to look for, okay, when can the Pistons really shut this narrative up and really get this contender label thrown at them where people believe, okay, this team might actually make the finals. I think that's the stretch where they can do it. Lakers, Heat, Cleveland, New York. I think that's when they can really do it. But until then, to be honest, go ahead and just win 20 games. Win 20 games in a row. And if people at that point want to say, oh, you're at 20 games in a row, but you're still not beating people, then so be it. Let's head into December 30th feeling good then. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Nonetheless, I think the Pistons are proving that they are to be taken very serious. And again, like I said, if it wasn't for their history and being a young team and being just one of the worst team in NBA history 2 years ago, I think if you removed all of that and you just had someone who didn't know anything about the NBA, you just say, hey, who's some of the best teams in the NBA? And you threw these numbers at them and this profile that the Pistons have, they say, oh yeah, that's probably one of the top 5 teams in the NBA. But fortunately, that's not how it works. So I think this is a great team. They're proving it every single day. And I think that they're going to have to continue to prove it. And I think they want to do that. I think they want that responsibility, and they'll get their chance. I think they're going to do great, and we'll see how they do. We'll see what happens. Let me know, comment section down below or over on Twitter at Khahil. Do you believe the Pistons are contenders right now? Again, let me know. But until next one, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. Free and available on all your podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel. Leave us a 5-star review, whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Until next time, peace out, everybody.